beginning, like Mohini told us today, that Shiva's first wife was Sati. So we begin from the beginning. So Sati was a human avatar of Shakti, and through a lot of tapasya, she ultimately found Shiva, and Shiva accepted her, recognized her, and then they got married. After their marriage, they start to live in Mount Kailash together. But there was something that was always very difficult for Sati to accept, and the fact was that her own father Daksh would never ever accept Shiva, because Shiva was in no way a normal husband. Sati was a princess, she was beautiful and she was raised in beautiful palaces, and Shiva was a Aghori with a snake around his neck. So it did not make sense for a princess to get married to this Aghori man. Like, why would my daughter do that? Daksh could never ever understand. So Sati never asked for permission. She married Shiva anyway. So one day, Daksh kept one of the biggest yajna that the humanity had ever seen.
What is a yagna?
So yajna is like a fire ceremony, and you give ahuti like we did today. So a lot of sages, or a lot of wise people, everybody was invited that night, and all the gods, all the deities, everybody was present over there except for one person who did not get invitation. Who was it?
Shiva.
Obviously Shiva. Now Sati was torn that should she go to that event as a daughter, or should she choose to be by Shiva's side as the wife that she is. So she was really torn. Ultimately she went to Shiva and she took his permission that, Lord, can I please go to my father's event because I really want to. Shiva said, of course, it's your choice, but I just want to tell you one thing, that where you are not respected and you're not called for, there's no point going over there. So you shouldn't go, but if you want to, of course, it's your choice. So Sati couldn't control herself and she went. And the moment she reached there, she saw everybody present in that ceremony. That made her so angry that she questioned Daksh, her father, that, Father, why did you not invite us? Why did you not invite your own daughter? And that's when Daksh said such harsh words, saying that that man is nothing whom you've married. Shiva is nothing. He's a nobody. He has no empire. He is not a famous god. And I don't understand why you would choose such a stupid man like him. And when she heard all of that, the rage that she went through, she stepped in front of the fire, and Sati said that this body that I have been given in this lifetime, this body will not accept all these words. These ears are not worth it. This body is not worth it. I will not hear such things for Shiva. And that rage, with that anger, she stepped into the fire and she sacrificed herself. Now Shiva got to know about it, and that's when Shiva's Kal Bhairav avatar came into form. And he came and he destructed everything that came in the way. Everything. It was a massacre. It was crazy. Nobody could stop Kal Bhairav. After that, Shiva entered. And once Shiva came and he saw Sati's body burnt, he held her in his arms and he cried. He wailed for Sati. And that is how Sati, he couldn't let go of the pain that he was going through. And he cried and he wailed with all the anger that was there in his body. He lifted her body, and with all the anger and the pain and the longing, he started to walk around with her body, crying, Sati! Sati! And he just kept walking and wouldn't let go of the corpse. All the gods were watching, but nobody could stop him. and he just kept walking around with the corpse in his hands. That's when Vishnu decided that I need to do something about it. So with his Sudarshan Chakra, which came, it tore Sati's body into 51 different parts, and each part fell in different parts of India as per the story. For example, her yoni fell in Guwahati, Assam, Kamakhya temple, which is one of the strongest temples. And same ways, there are 51 temples actually, which are spread all across India, which are very powerful magnetic centers on earth. And people go there to worship her, to worship Shakti, to awaken their own Shakti. Women go there.
They are Shakti Peeths.
Shakti Peeth. Very powerful spaces.
Mm.
So after that, finally Shiva understood that he's lost Sati, and he went into Yoga Nidra. Now once he went into Yoga Nidra, nobody knew when he would come back. And meanwhile, the earth was totally losing its balance. So because there's only witness, there's only consciousness, there's only Shiva that is existing. And there's no Shakti, there's no Prana. So the earth was losing its balance. And years passed, years and years kept passing. Demons started to gain power more and more. And there was desperate and dire need for Shakti again. So all the gods, they came together and they were like, when is Shakti going to take her new form? Finally, 1000 years later, while Shiva was still lost in his Yoga Nidra, 1000 years later, Shakti took another human form, and this time with the name of Parvati. And she was born as a very cute little girl, once again as a princess in a palace. And from the moment she was born, for some weird reason, she would always be praying to Shiva. If she would see any sage talking about Shiva, this 4-year-old girl would run and would want to sit there all day long listening to all the stories, would want to learn all the chants. So she had it in her from the very beginning. And then one day, one priest predicted that as per the lines in her hand, she is going to marry a very, very, very strong man by her side. And then he suggested that he will be a Ghori. And the father was really scared that, oh my god, my little princess. But then Vishnu and other gods, they gave them assurance that you do not need to worry, and you have no idea who your daughter is. She's not an ordinary woman. You don't need to worry about her. So years passed, and Parvati was really desperate for finding her lord. So she kept praying and she kept praying, and she was in a tapasya all day long. Initially with little food, and then the fasting went even deeper, and then she started to fast all day long with just fruits. Later the tapasya became so strong that she was barely surviving with just the air and the prana and the elements around her. That's it. In her search, she went to the mountains and she crossed rivers and forests, and she kept going on and on and on. Finally, she found Shiva, and he was sitting in Yoga Nidra. And he was so still like a mountain, as if you can't even tell if he is living or not. Shiva, Shav. They say Shiv without Shakti is Shav. He's a corpse. He's a nobody. He was like that, just sitting there in his total stillness. And when Shakti finally saw him after years and years of tapasya, like, you've longed for something so long, you've worked hard for it for so long, and it's right there in front of you. What do? Oh my god, he's right here. But she saw him in that state in Yoga Nidra, and she chose to do the same thing. Even after all those years of tapasya, she sat there in tapasya along with him. Days kept passing and passing, and she was losing her vitality slowly and slowly. Everything just melting away. But her willpower did not. She kept sitting in her own tapasya. that's when the gods started to discuss that, okay, this is getting scary. Now Shakti finally came after 1000 years, and now Shiva is not coming out of his state. So what should we do? So they summoned Cupid, Kamdev, and they were like, let's do the magic of love, let's do it. So Kamdev came and he took out his bow and he put it on Shiva. That's when he woke up. And he said to Cupid, you fool, desires do not control me. Desires are like waves, they rise and they fall into the ocean, and I am the ocean. It is foolish of you to try that bow on me. And he opened his third eye and he burned Kamdev into ashes. But then he saw Shakti in front of her. But not, she wasn't looking beautiful. She was frail, almost reaching her death. And she was sitting there. And in that moment, Shiva recognized her. Not because of what was outside, but because of deep remembrance. When two long lost souls meet, they just know it. It is not because of the bodies or the eyes or the hair. They just do. It's a longing. And once you are in their periphery, it just happens. The moment he looked at her, he knew she was his Shakti. He brought her back to her vitality and they decided to get married. Now comes the interesting part, why we are sitting here and what is Shivratri. So this is the night where they finally got married. This time, unlike the last lifetime, both the parents of Parvati were in alignment that okay, let's get them married. So Shiva was also happy, he wanted to come. Now in India, what happens is when the groom comes at the doorstep of the bride, they bring a barat. Barat is like a procession, like everybody will sing and dance and will have dhol and music, and they walk up to the doorstep of the girl. So Shiva, being Shiva, Shiva is everybody's lord. Everybody loves him. He's Bholenath, like the cute guy, you know. He can be super angry, but then he's the innocent one also. So he is worshipped by everybody. He is worshipped by all the demons as well as all the angels. Everybody. So in his barat, everybody came, even the demons. Very, very scary people were all coming in the barat. Let alone the groom himself is sitting on Nandi and who has horns and has a snake around his neck and has ash all over his chest. And he looks freaking scary. Not to Parvati's eyes. Parvati is in love. He is so beautiful. He represents everything which is reality. He is the utmost, the most purest state of divine masculine. But not for ordinary people. They can't see it. They see what's outside and they get scared. So, once Shiva's entire barat came at the doorsteps and Parvati's mother was there with the plate to put tilak on his forehead, she fainted. He was scary, the entire barat was scary, and everybody was scared to shit. So everybody went to Parvati and they're like, who is this guy you're marrying? He's so scary. I don't know what to do. Your mother has already fainted. So Parvati was like, okay. Parvati requested to Shiva that maybe for one day, can you come in like a avatar which is a little pleasant to normal people's eye, maybe for a day. So he agreed and he came into a beautiful groom avatar, and then he stepped into the marriage ceremony, and then they sat in front of the fire. That's how Indians we get married, and we take 7 fairas. We go around the fire and we take our vows when we are getting married. It's a very beautiful way. So they were going through the entire process, and I think Vishnu is the one who was conducting their marriage, and the marriage was on full ceremony. It was beautiful. Everybody was part of it. So beautiful. But then something very unique happened that the universe had never ever witnessed. Shiva sat and Parvati sat, and everybody was having a look at this beautiful marriage, and then suddenly they started to merge, and they merged, and they came closer and closer, so beautiful that one half was Shiva and the other half was Shakti. And this avatar was Ardhanareshwar. So half man and half woman. This was the most beautiful sight for any living being in their lifetime. And that's when everybody bowed down to this ultimate union of Shivratri, Shiva and Shakti.
Beautiful.